So welcome everyone to the League of Europe. We're here for the Division 2 podcast. I am joined by the one and only for LOE himself. It's Mark.
Hello.
Hello. We haven't exactly thought about what we're going to be talking about, but we're mainly just going to be talking about D2. We know for certain, obviously, we've already had the first race happen in Australia. Went well for some, not so well for others. Sorry, Mark. But
It's alright.
yeah, we may as well just crack straight into it. Get on with the results of what actually happened in the first race, because it was definitely a cracker. Or well, actually, whilst I'm trying to find it, I'll let you talk about like what went on within your race.
Well, I crashed in quali,
It's a good start.
as I do. Always good. And I crashed in the race, and that is exactly as Australia always tends to go. It always goes that I go off at turn 12 since the dawn of time. I'd never go off with an unforced error normally. And yeah, it's just as per, didn't do anything outrageous. Was doing alright on the hards. I was quite fancying a decent place. And then just backed it into the wall. But at least Agony got disqualified, so I actually didn't finish last. So we take the positives from that result, and we move forward.
By starting towards the back.
I can only go up.
Fair enough. Right, I've got the quali times in front of me here. We'll start off. Yeah, we'll just start with the quali. So, in pole was actually the debutee of Raikkonen. I think a lot of people keep on calling him Raikkonen, but it's just Raikkonen. I don't know.
Yes.
Then it was Campbell in second, literally only 900ths of a second behind him. A shocker one for third was Sarja. I was really shocked when I saw him go up to third, I must admit, but...
Oh, LFC's going backwards. That's why we're... Oh, he's been disqualified.
Oh,
Here we go.
Oh, lovely.
Sorry.
But yeah, so Sarja started in third, which I thought was really good for him. You know, first race of the season. I think only other sort of race I've seen him do really well at is Bahrain, which I know is going to be in 2 weeks' time.
Like, what? I don't understand. He's got quite a decent pace, but he always doesn't finish. This sounds hugely ironic right now with my 100% DNF rate, but I want to see him do quite well. I'd quite like to see him do decent times and get decent results this season.
Yeah, it would be good to see him do well.
I don't know why he doesn't want them.
It certainly would be good to see him do well for a change, rather than just sort of just staying there, or like sort of towards the mid to back end of the field, admittedly. But then in fourth is myself, which I think also a couple of people were surprised about.
Was you happy?
I thought, yeah, to be fair, I thought I'd done an alright lap. It could have been a bit of a better lap, because I'm validated on my last one. But I'm still fourth. I'm alright with. I feel like I'm, yeah. Caesar finished it done quali in fifth. With Velocity only being 5 thousandths of a second behind him in sixth. Then you got the two Red Bulls in 7th and 8th of Dan and then Morgan. Bones in 9th and Wave rounding out the top 10.
It was good.
I was quite shocked actually at what how low RJ qualified. Down in 12th.
Yeah, and he's very good at Australian historically, so yeah, that's a bit of an odd one. I think the only other odd ones really were. Did Cloudy crash? I don't think he did. He didn't crash.
No, he lagged out quite a few times.
Ah, yeah, he did actually, didn't he? And Army not being as quick as you'd have hoped. But no, Raikkonen, I'm telling you, this guy, people are just anointing Campbell as the champion.
In 13th with Army in 14th. And I believe, let's see if I can catch the rest of the other ones. That's the top 14 for now.
We've got Al Asahina? Oh, I don't know. Oi Asahina.
Cloudy.
15th. Yes, Mr. Balloons.
Mr. Balloons.
Me in 16th. Big W in 17th. Stan. Yes, I was known as Stan. I think commentators need to hear this. Call him Stan, it will make your life so much easier.
Probably a lot better.
With a 122.1, and I think Tiggerby crashed.
Yeah,
19th.
Tiggerby did crash. I do remember that. I was actually quite shocked when I saw him crash and Stan also being down in 18th, because in the pre-season he was pretty quick. So I don't know if he just made a mistake or what had actually happened, but yeah, he was relatively quick. So to see him down there did shock me. Really did.
It's an outlier race. We won't touch on the other divisions too much, but we were joking beforehand. Like, James is a god in Australia compared to some tracks with his pace. He won. Oh, do you remember? It was Paris, wasn't it? He's not in the league, but that guy was really rapping it. There was like Australia specialists. Yeah, and Baku and stuff like that. There's some really outlying tracks, and I think Australia, Baku, Singapore, and Monaco are probably the four that, like, there's no point even judging people's pace, really, because they're just so weird. They're so different to anything else that you encounter.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. I can say that for sure, yeah. But that was obviously the top 10 for qualifying. And now over to the results of the race. In fact, actually, I'll touch a little bit on what happened on my race. Got off to the start. I think I went 3 wide with Velocity and Caesar going into turn 3. I didn't end well. It actually ended alright. I got pushed off a little bit, but it didn't like affect me that much or anything at all, really. Midway through the race, got in a massive battle with Tiggerby and another Mercedes, as you probably did see within the Discord. We won't touch on that too much. So you are hungry. But yeah, and then something happened to Raikkonen. I don't know what happened to him.
He pit again really swiftly, didn't he? He must have got wing damage.
Yeah.
If Raikonen's in the pit, I'm hoping maybe he's listening to this. Feel free to, because I'm really intrigued, because it was weird. It wasn't a, well, I don't know. I don't really understand what happened, but I thought he had it all ends up as well. I really thought he was going to win this race, and then he didn't, but
it was a bit of a surprising one. But the top 3 were as follows. It was Campbell, who managed to win the race. He kept it consistent throughout, didn't exactly make a mistake or anything like he is in his practice session. In second was Caesar. Again, didn't look like he made a mistake or anything, just kept it consistent, clean throughout. And Bones in third. His first race in D2 as an actual driver, not as like a Division 3 All-Star driver, and he ended up getting on the podium.
No, well done in all seriousness, but that shows you that I think in the early stages, like Mexico here, probably up to like race 5 or 6, if you keep it clean and you're decent at the track, you've got a very good chance of podium, because people are just making tons of mistakes everywhere at the moment, and that'll disappear.
Without a doubt. Another one that actually done quite well coming up through the field was RJ. He finished 4th, just ahead of me in 5th. Me and him were having sort of battles throughout the race. I think it was on the final lap where he managed to overtake me and just kept it just ahead of me. Both had the same. I think both had 1 penalty each, or 2 penalties each. Sorry. So yeah, managed to keep it ahead of me. Raikkonen actually finished in 6th. He also overtook me on the last lap, but I think he had more penalties than both me and RJ, so he ended up dropping back a bit more. Tiggerby ended up finishing 7th, starting the last on the grid, so it was a good drive from him. Not the cleanest, but it was a good drive. Sarja dropped down quite a few. He finished in 8th. Now, I don't know what happened to Sarja, because I remember I was keeping up with him at one point in the race as well, and then he went, and I don't know what happened. I think he may have lost it at turn 12, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
Because I was just behind him at one
what kind of
point.
idiot does that?
We'll crack on that in a second, in a minute. Dan finished in 9th, with Velocity rounding out the top 10. Morgan in 11th, and Big W taking the final point in 12th.
I was about to shout at someone for getting the standings wrong, but then I realised that Raikon's got 9 points, quite rightly, because he got the fastest lap.
Yeah.
So, fair play.
It was almost a second. No, it wasn't a second. Yeah, no, because Sarja and Tiggery were sort of quite close to his fastest lap as well. And Stan as well. He finished in 13th, and he was the last actual remaining finisher. I think the only ones that DNF'd were you, Cloudy, who else DNF'd?
Agony got a DSQ.
Yeah.
Wave.
Yeah.
DNF'd with Dutch Face and Army.
I think they were all at turn 12. I literally think every single one of them were turn 12, because I remember seeing Cloudy crash when he was just in front of Tiggery.
Yes, he definitely crashed at turn 12 because I was still waiting. I was in the Alonso deck chair, waiting to just have a beer with him. Didn't look in the mood, so. I think Wave retired in the pits because he had 2 incidents. I don't know exactly what happened. I know there were 2 different people, and he just decided to call it a draw. I think, unless I'm mistaken. But I know he had 2 incidents. I'm pretty sure he just binned it into the pits, but. Yeah, weird one. Weird race in the sense of there's quite a few people there that, to be fair, you would probably anticipate DNFing quite a bit, just with the driving style. I think I might. I think Cloudy might. Wave doesn't tend to. I don't know about McDutchface, but if I know anything about McDutchface, is that because he's very quick in other games, I suspect he'll go right on the limit, trying to just be as quick as possible. So I can imagine that might creep in.
Could be a factor,
what
yeah.
What do you think?
No, I see what you're saying. Dutchface being extremely rapid in GT Sport, and even when I have raced him in this game, he's also pretty quick at this. So it won't shock me to see him, if he's trying to absolutely hammer it down. Maybe sort of have a little spin off into something. Because I've done it in the past as well. Even when I'm trying to hammer it down, and all of a sudden that's it. I've just ended up going straight off.
Yeah, particularly at punishing tracks actually here, at Hungary. I think if you push the margins, not so much in this game with the removal of the ballast, I have to say. Spa has always been one.
Of course,
the tracks
Monaco,
where
Singapore, Baku, anything like that.
Yeah, any of the tight circuits as well. Anything that's dangerous on the curbs and high speed round them, I think tends to be where you get really punished.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Agony, just a bit of a shout out to Agony. Really unfortunate that he got DSQ'd. It looked really harsh. Really harsh. He took it in good humour. He seems like, I have to say, I'm quite glad he's back in the league. For some of you that might not know, Agony used to race here under the old league. I think up until 2017. I think he was here in 16 and even maybe 15. So for him to come back is quite cool. And he seems like quite a character, actually. I've not really seen much of him before, but he's in the chat giving people grief, which is always good. And himself, most important.
Yeah, without a doubt. So that was the race that happened in Australia. And now we look forward to this Saturday, which is the track that we've actually got going on in the background right now, which is Hungary.
We can't move on without talking about some of the incidents because
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really see too much of it, but I know Velocity wasn't happy with Tiggerby. I know you wasn't happy. I think Campbell wasn't happy. Am I correct in saying I think Campbell's and yours were slightly different? Was it to do with them in battling under, basically battling for position,
Yeah.
but being on completely different sides?
Yeah, so what had happened was Tiggerby obviously started at the back. He was on the hard compound tyre, hasn't made his pit stop yet. You know, like when you're just going through the field, you're on the hard tyre, everyone's making their stops and stuff like that, and then try and catch back up. Now, Campbell got to Tiggerby. I don't think he got to him first. Yeah, so Campbell got to Tiggerby first. And what had happened was Tiggerby was battling him going in towards turn 11, like the start of the actual like fast chicane.
Yeah.
And Campbell went around the outside of him.
I haven't seen too much of the stuff with Campbell, really, but it raises an interesting point, I think, from both sides, because I'm a bit of a Tiggerby fanboy. People know that. I will defend him, even in his darkest moments, which maybe this is one. Thing is with Tiggerby, I think the reason why it looked so ridiculous, it's ridiculous. I mean, I wouldn't do it. I would never battle someone that had way better tyres, was effectively way further up the road than me, basically 20 seconds, at least, because of the strategy difference. I wouldn't do it, but that's not to say you can't.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think the thing is that it's annoying being the car behind when you're coming up and you're going, why the heck is this guy ruining his race to battle me? Like, what is he doing? And that annoys you. But ironically, it's only affecting him. I mean, it does affect you negatively, but it's kind of his problem in some senses. And I think you just need to keep, if that does happen to anyone, you just need to keep a bit of a cool head and just think, I'll probably get this guy on DRS. Realistically, I'm going to get better grip, especially out, you know, Australia's not really good for DRS realistically, but compared to some of the tracks. But I think, and the velocity thing is interesting because it depends how you have your glass. Is it half full or half empty? Because he didn't brake when he was rolling back, but he wasn't reversing. Because I think if he didn't have the telemetry, you would assume he was reversing back onto the track.
Yeah.
Which is like bang out of order. But because he was
just gliding across the track.
Maybe he was just pissed off. Oh, sorry, bad word. But maybe he was annoyed that he felt like maybe he was annoyed he crashed, just like Campbell just did.
Yeah.
In this little moment, but maybe that's why he was annoyed. Like maybe he just took his. Again, I don't know, but it's a tough one, and I get why Velocity was annoyed. Tiggerby does push the limit sometimes. I think he does definitely go over them. And it's always him. That's the thing, and I think that's what annoys people, is that it's these shades of grey a lot of times.
Yeah.
It's never like dirty, but it's just like there's enough incidents that happen through a season. Probably half the grid at least will get annoyed with him. But
I wouldn't say that about my one. No, I mean with my one, it was you know, he of course he's going to defend his position. I completely understand that. You know, you're battling for position. You're going to defend it, even if you haven't made your pit stop yet. Again, I completely understand that because I've done it in the past as well. But with what he'd done with me, was coming up towards turn 1. I was already ahead of him, but on his outside. And
right,
we both turned in. I left him enough space on the inside, but he used the entire part of the track to the point where it also pushed me off the track and actually sent me into the gravel.
T2.
Yeah.
What, T2?
At T2.
Okay.
Which got RJ past, but then RJ struggled to get past him, and then I got back past RJ. So effectively, it lost me position, even though I did manage to gain it back. But that was mainly like the sort of that's what really had happened with me and Tiggerby. That's why I was sort of completely going off at him for what he'd done. because it could have affected my race.
You've got to think about the fans. I mean, look at all these fans that are out here now in the wet, going around looking at this practice session. You know, sometimes you just got. Sometimes these races are a bit dull. Sometimes you've got to spice them up. But no, I'm in all seriousness. I'm with you. I get it. And I think the big thing is it tends to be certain people a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I think that's what we ideally want to get away from. And for those that have just joined, Tiggerby was very quick last season towards the back end of it, and he's a quick driver on his day, and he was pushing for the title last season. So and he doesn't tend to DNF that much, but sometimes I think when he's in the midfield of a race, and I've seen it in other leagues, and when he's not near the front, he gets a bit mischievous, which is not really ideal.
Yeah. No, I get
Anyway.
I get that. But I mean, that was only a couple of the incidents. As I said, like the guys that DNF'd, I think literally all of them other than Wave was at turn 12.
And all of it would have been, I bet most of them would have been greed.
Yeah.
Because mine was greed. Mine was, I took the entrance, I took turn 11 badly, like understeered basically, and I was like, I've done it, I've practiced so much, and I realised I can't completely cut that corner, because it puts you in that wall over there.
Yeah.
But you know when you think, I even said to myself before the race, no matter how much time it costs you, just go around, it'll cost you a second and a half max. Just slow right down and make sure you make the apex. Nah, obviously in the race your head goes, doesn't it? I literally tried to cut the whole corner, got the car, just completely lift off the floor, bang, in the wall. Jobs. And I think that turn 12 is one that doesn't reward greed. If anything, it's one of the few corners on the whole calendar that you're better off going slowly round it consistently and trying to make time up on every single other corner, except that one.
It is a bit of a tricky one because, as I said, Sarja lost it at one point but managed to stay in the race. I lost it at that one point at that corner as well, but somehow managed to hold it, and Sarja got back past me from that. So it did catch up quite a lot of people, but
yes,
as you said, I think that's just more due to greed.
Yeah. What about this one then, that we've got in front of us now?
I think it's similar. Like, if you look at it is turn 4, the one up the hill, isn't it? If you look at it, turn 4, once again, if you get too greedy from there, then it's curtains for you. Like, I wouldn't even bother trying.
Yeah. And equally as well, if you get a bit lazy, turn 5, the next one, that hairpin right before the chicane, if you catch that curb, it's been like that since I've raced, I think even in 17, 18 as well. You catch that inside curb, you're going round.
Yeah.
Which I quite like. I think I like tracks that really punish, and that's an annoying one as well, because you'll end up probably oversteering into the barrier. You'll probably get an orange wing, and you'll be like, I've got to carry on. In some ways, I'd rather just be out, but and the chicane this year, I don't know what everyone else, maybe my setup's wrong, but that chicane this year, if you go over it a bit aggressive over the bumps, last year you get away with it like clear as day. If you go over those bumps too hard this season, you really unsettle the car, and especially if you're on no traction, you can go on a tiny bit too early and actually stack it. I've done it once. I've nearly done it a few times on like quali and TT. So I think overall the track's easier than last year, but I still think it has a bit of bite in it.
Yeah.
So what would be your prediction for D2? Will it rain, actually? Will it rain first and foremost?
It's a tricky one to call because Hungary's like 50-50. That's like Britain.
It's a high
50-50.
range, isn't there? There's a real high. Yeah, I think it's close. I don't know, but if it's dry, what's your top three?
I'm probably going to go a boring top three. I'm going to say it would probably be Campbell, Raikkonen, and RJ. Or
Okay.
Caesar. One of the two Williams will be the top three.
Okay. I think if it's dry, it will be Raikkonen, Campbell, and Stan.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I can see that. I guess I can see that.
Because he was quite good at Singapore, wasn't he? Am I making that up?
I know
He
he's
was
pretty
good
good at
pre-season, I
France.
remember that.
He definitely had a really good pre-season at
France.
France.
Okay. And if it's wet, well, I say don't even worry about necessarily making a new top three. But if it's wet, who does better and who does worse?
I don't think I'll see any three of them that I picked for the drive will be on the top three. I reckon it's a whole new top
Oh
three.
wow!
Because I know Campbell absolutely hates the wet. I know RJ hates the wet. I don't know about Raikkonen. He might still be in that top three, but I don't know. I think that top three will change entirely.
See, I think I'd go for people that have probably raced a lot of league races because you've just raced in the wet more.
Hmm.
So I'd probably go people like I'd probably go Raikkonen and I'd probably go Morgan and Total Peas. Like people that like race a lot, basically. Should we have a look at? Let's have a look at these times. This is interesting. So Dan is good in the wet.
Yeah, he's done better than both Raikkonen. Well, four of them: Raikkonen, Campbell, RJ, and Morgan, and Pease. So Dan could be up there. In fact, RJ's just told me in Discord that he's actually loves the wet. So maybe RJ would stay in that top three. Maybe along with, I'd probably say Dan would be in that top three.
Hang on, RJ loves the wet and he's just got absolutely clouted by three people. I mean, don't know how. Don't know. Careful what you love. Love can hurt.
Yeah, no, I don't
But
know. It's a tough one to call at the moment because obviously, we've only just done one race. Australia, a lot of people can be like Australia merchants at it. I know a couple of people that are Australia merchants, so it will be tight to call. But if I had to go with just like a boring, confident one, I would say it'd be Raikkonen, Campbell, and RJ as top three.
yeah, no, I think that's not unfair at all. And just looking forward to seeing how it all plays out. It will be interesting to see. What we kind of don't want is Campbell to win again.
I mean,
We
I
don't.
would, but
But
yeah.
no, you wouldn't. Don't lie. Don't sit here and lie.
Of course,
This is
I'd
the
like to
biggest
win
fallacy.
myself, but I mean, if I can't, then Campbell.
No, I'm telling you now, right? People need to. Campbell needs to get very far ahead of you very quickly. Very far ahead of you very quickly. If not, you're going to get used to this whole no assist business, as is RJ, and then he's in a world of pain. And then and then he's still got Raikkonen to deal with. I'm telling you, if he does not have a 25-point lead going into race 6, he won't win the title.
That's a very
That's
bold call.
I'm bored. I'm doing that as
Bold.
well. But this is a cracking little 5-lapper. As an aside, James is up to second. He's laying it on Finn. Look at this. Got Game Boys, D1 lads. How you getting on? Getting served by the D2 and D3 is second and third in this. No, and I suppose one of the last ones we have to say, I suppose, is thanks to the guys that have done the little practice session. It's quite a nice little backdrop and a bit of a nice distraction for
No,
us.
it is, yeah.
Peas is a hammering it round. Peas looks dangerous around here. I'm glad of my prediction. Get up there, Peas. He is.
We'll see.
But
I guess we'll
anything
see for
else?
Saturday. I don't really exactly have anything else to say. I guess the only thing we have to say is obviously thank you people for watching, if they are watching the podcast live or if they're watching it as a video. Thank you to the guys that have decided they wanted to put on this little show in practice and the 5-lapper. We do appreciate it. Probably next time we'll do a podcast, we'll also do something similar to this as well. I guess we'll see what happens on the Saturday.
Absolutely. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Yep, thank you very much for watching.